Hey guys, welcome to Life Knowledge. My name is Justin Alphabet. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe down below. Today we're going to be talking about how to control anxiety. Okay, so we're going to talk about controlling anxiety and how to do it. And I actually have a lot of experience with this. I used to have a lot of anxiety, and I used to self-medicate or things like that to try to suppress that. And so I'm going to teach you guys how to not do that and how to control it and how to use it in positive outlets. So first off, I need to give you guys a little bit of background knowledge on emotions and the human physiology, right? So if you look here, this is the yin-yang symbol, and you can see that there's a white side and there's a black side, and they represent different things. So the white side represents the sun, and the black side represents the moon. The white side represents positivity, and the black side represents negativity. And the white side represents positive emotions, and the black side represents negative emotions. So a little bit of background on that. Humans need balance. Humans need to be in a state of homeostasis. If you've ever heard that word in science, homeostasis is a balance. It's like zero. It's like a flat line. It's like centered. It's like just being whole or complete or at a neutral, right? If we talk about water, we have very alkaline water and we have very acidic water, right? Both are not good for humans. We need something in the middle, right? And the same is with our emotions. We do best in a neutral position, in a neutral form. When we get excited, we're elevated. Our emotions are elevated. When we get depressed, our emotions are suppressed, right? We're down. When we have anxiety, it's typically a mixture of both sometimes, but typically it's because we have too much energy inside of our bodies and it's not being spent. So with like ADHD or ADD or attention deficit disorders, as people call them, where people are overexcited or they feel anxious, like they have anxiety, that's because they have an energy inside of them that's not being spent typically. It can come from procrastination. You can feel anxious because you're not doing something, or enacting something, or you're putting something off, or you're postponing things, or you have a big project that's due, or something is coming up that you feel that you're not up to the task for, or things like that. Like, there are many different reasons or situations why you may feel anxious. But typically anxiety comes from not doing. And so my urge to you guys is to take one step. And the way that you're going to do this is you're going to count down. You're going to figure out, first off, where can I start? And then count down and start on that. So step one, let's ask ourselves, like, where can I start? What's one thing that I can do that's going to take maybe 5 minutes in my project, or 5 minutes in my goals, or 5 minutes in my next step? What's something that I can do that I can just take 5 minutes and start? And 5 minutes is all. We're not going to do any more than 5 minutes. But I'm going to, start and take 5 minutes, because I have 5 minutes and you have 5 minutes. Everybody has 5 minutes to work on something that they want to work on, that they, have to work on, that they need to work on, right? If there's something that you need to do or have to do or want to do, you can take 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes. Anyone can make or take 5 minutes to work on something if it's important to you. If it's not important to you, you might want to pivot and figure out, why am I doing this, and switch directions and not do it. If it is important to you, and it's important to people around you, and it's important to your life, then you can take 5 minutes. Second off, what you're going to do is you're going to count down, right? You've decided what it is you need to do. You need to, start on this project, and you're going to take 5 minutes. and you're going to count down from 5. You're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're going to get up and you're going to go do it. You're going to stop watching this video as soon as it's over. You're going to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're going to get working on it. And other things may distract you. Other things you may feel will take priority. You may try to procrastinate this thing. But you're not going to do that. You're going to do it. You're going to take the time. You're going to put in the effort. You're going to put in the work. You're going to put in the hours. You're going to put in the grind. Because typically the reason why we procrastinate things, why we postpone things, is because we're afraid of it, or we fear it, or we feel that we're not up to the task. We feel it's too daunting. And so that creates and builds up anxiety, which is energy that's we're supposed to be using towards this specific thing. That's typically how anxiety works. And so you can, there are also methods to just release excess anxiety to keep you in homeostasis, which, I mean, if you have like high amounts of anxiety, this is going to be maybe the step that you should take first, and then take this first step that I just told you about, the, deciding on what to do next, and, counting down from 5. And this is for people who have crippling anxiety, like you're not able to do anything at all. If you have moderate amounts of anxiety, you can just start, and that will, spend that energy inside of you, the anxious energy, and that will, help you get started if you have lower levels. But first off, before I tell you guys this tip, I want to explain something to you about anxiety. Our bodies can't tell the difference between fear and anxiety, or excitement and anxiety, I guess, is what I would also, fear is also kind of mixed in with anxiety. But like, for example, like when you are, have you ever been on a zip line or something that's exhilarating? You feel a sense of anxiety or fear at the same time as feeling excited or elated. Your body can't typically tell the difference between the two, right? Sometimes we're anxious to, get something done that's exciting, or sometimes we're anxious because something bad is going to happen, right? Anxiety follows both positive and negative things. And so when you're typically in this state of anxiety, it can also be tricked into excitement. You can trick yourself into being like, wow, I must be really excited about this if I'm this anxious about it. I must be really, really excited about it. So you can trick your mind into thinking that this anxiety is actually excitement. So you can use all that energy, that anxious energy, towards positivity and being like, wow, this is going to be awesome. I am so excited for this. This is amazing. And that anticipation is going to help drive you to get whatever it is that done, or do whatever it is that you need to do, as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical. Those are the 3 stipulations that you need to make sure it is before you do it. No robbing banks and things like that. Legal, moral, ethical. So yeah, trick yourself into thinking that this anxiety is actually excitement. The second tip I have for you, if you're at extreme levels of anxiety where you absolutely cannot do anything, I've been to this point. If you guys have ever seen someone who's like breathing into a bag and anxious to like those points, that's typically high levels of like anxiety, where like, in the movies where you see people like breathing into a plastic bag or something like that, or a paper sack, I think is what it is. The goal here that you're going to do is you're going to use this technique from this guy. He was on the Lewis Howes podcast, and his name, the School of Greatness, and his name is escaping me right now, but I'm going to put it right here. And he talks about breathing techniques. And the breathing technique is one that actually infants use to calm themselves and bring themselves to a centered, neutral, emotional level in a state of balance and homeostasis. They're not, elevated, and they're not suppressed, but it brings them back to neutral from, heightened or lowered levels. And breathing does that typically. Breathing can raise your emotions, and breathing can suppress your emotions. It just brings you back to a neutral state. You can release energy and you can gain energy from, breathing, which is pretty cool. If you're suppressed, breathe and you'll get energy. If you're, and suck in energy. If you are anxious and you need to let go of energy and your anxiety levels are too high, then you can bring them down and breathe out anxiety and energy. So typically, I wouldn't recommend doing this. I would use your anxiety first off as a constructive thing first. This is a last resort, okay? And what I mean by that, look at the yin-yang symbol, right? We have anxiety, which is in the black side, which is a negative emotion, right? So you can see here that there's a white dot on the negative side where you can use negative emotions for positive things. And just on the same side, there's the positive side, which is the white side. There's a black dot where you can use positive emotions for negative purposes, which I don't recommend. But if you think about it, if you have anger, if you have fear, if you have anxiety, if you have pain or hurt, all of those emotions are there for a reason, right? Your body is signaling to you that you need to do something. It's an alarm, right? If you have anxiety, that's because you're procrastinating typically. But to give you another example, let's use heartbreak, for example, right? Heartbreak involves a lot of pain, anger, hurt, frustration, and all of those things, right? It's a negative thing in most people's minds. Heartbreak is negative. So when someone is heartbroken, typically what follows shortly after is a glow up. This person, or a level up, or this person, becomes better, right? They use those negative emotions to fuel themselves, to grow, to show that other person that, they messed up. Like, you should have chosen me. You shouldn't have broken up with me. I've glowed up and I've outgrown you, sort of thing, And a lot of people do that, and that's a good thing for them, right? If they feel that that's a good thing. So they use those negative emotions to become better. And I recommend that you use your anxiety to do the same thing. Use your negative anxiety and switch it into a positive, and use it as excitement to get done whatever it is you need to get done. If you feel that your tasks are too daunting, sometimes it's good to lower your expectations too. Like, sometimes we place undeniably impossible expectations on ourselves. Like, for example, let's say I'm going to travel to, if I tell myself I'm going to travel to Mars next week, right? The ability to do that is impossible at this point. The future is uncertain. However, the chances of me, doing something like that's attainable is a little bit impossible, in my opinion. The probability of it is impossible. When you set a SMART goal, a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goal, you can learn more about those in my other videos. I have a video about SMART goals. It specifically tells you to make sure that your goals are realistic and attainable, that you do you give yourself enough time, you give yourself enough of everything to make sure that you're able to complete your goal, and not hold yourself to other people's standards. So, for example, if I wanted to become Mr. Olympia and I saw how fast Arnold Schwarzenegger did it, I wouldn't compare myself to him, right? I would compare myself to me. I would say, by what date do I want to become, Mr. Olympia? Arnold may have took 3 months to do it. I may take a year to do it. I may take 10 years to do it, right? But the point is not comparing myself to Arnold. It's comparing myself to me. oftentimes anxiety is created by comparing ourselves to other people, looking for validation outside of ourselves, and not keeping our energy within us to get done what we need to get done. Our focus is, our direction and our focus is skewed. When we get clear on our direction and our identity and what it is that we're trying to accomplish, we're able to connect with that and get things done. So set goals, that are SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. And get clear on the who, what, when, where, and why, and work backwards from that. That should ease some of your anxiety as well. Make sure it's possible to do what you're going to do, and that you don't set expectations that are, from others or whatever. What do you want to do? What is really important to you, and work on that. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but the last tip that I'm going to give you is for like extreme anxiety, like I was saying, and helps you get back to the baseline for neutral. And this is what infants do. And what these infants do is they do this breathing technique where you do 2 breaths in and 1 breath out. So like if you're really, sad, you would do like, if you're really depressed, if you're really anxious, if you're really angry, if you're any emotion that's, above or below neutral or homeostasis or balanced, then you're going to do this breathing technique. And if you've ever had a chance to experience or see an infant do this, typically after an infant has cried, I've actually seen this with some of my younger siblings when they were younger and babies. They would be like crying and crying and crying, and then they'd be like, and like they would kind of like soothe themselves back to a neutral level after they had let out their negative emotions, and get back to neutral. But first off, like I said, I would urge you guys to use your anxiety to turn it into excitement. Use that negative energy to power you. You have it for a reason. It's an alarm. It's supposed to help you take action. The reason why the anxiety continues to build up is because you're not taking action. So take the action instead. Use that as a backup plan, or like if your anxiety is crippling, like you're not able to do anything, kind of just do the breathing technique, help lower your anxiety a little bit, but then still do what you're going to do anyways, right? It's not going to fix everything, right? And what is going to fix everything is taking action. So the breathing, do that 10 times if you really need to get back to a neutral level and your anxiety is never like really, really inconsistent. But first, use that anxiety as fuel. You have it for a reason. You have it for a purpose. If you guys have questions, comment them below, and I'll do more videos on this to help you understand. But that's pretty much all my tips for today. If you guys want to go ahead and leave a thumbs up on this, I'd really appreciate it. Share this video with anyone who needs to learn how to control their anxiety, and have the day you deserve, and let's level up.